Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here today. I'm really glad you're all attending and having a great Vuforia Live. My name is Ryan Orwell. I'm a product manager on the Vuforia team, overseeing our Vuforia Work Instructions products. I've been at PTC for over 17 years, working in several different roles and on several different product lines. But today, we're going to focus our discussions on the Vuforia Work Instructions products, Vuforia Expert Capture and Vuforia Instruct. Approximately 75% of the global workforce consists of frontline workers whose job is done out in the real world beyond the office. Like everyone, frontline workers need the correct information in order to do their work. But rather than email or instant messaging and video calls, it traditionally comes in the form of training classes, over-the-shoulder mentoring, and face-to-face troubleshooting. Always having a seasoned expert on site is not realistic, which is why companies have to rely on traditional practices of creating, sharing, and consuming information, which today is largely paper-based. Paper-based instructions are difficult to author and even more challenging to comprehend. This leads to problems like lower productivity, more scrap and rework, and safety issues. The end result is often poor customer satisfaction. Today, we're going to look at how you can use augmented reality in your work instructions to solve each of these problems. Delivering work instructions to frontline workers is one of the most valuable applications for AR because it enables relevant digital content to be presented directly in the user's field of view, when and where that information can be most impactful. AR empowers frontline workers with the info that they need to help address the skills gap and challenges associated with training and work instructions by capturing and optimizing critical workflows, as well as providing visual, precise guidance for complex tasks. The Vuforia AR Enterprise Suite provides market-leading capabilities for creating AR content, addressing key use cases across the enterprise, like remote expert assistance, augmented assembly and inspection work instructions, training, and virtual product demonstrations. We have shared a great deal of information about each Vuforia product throughout Vuforia Live today. So in this session, we're going to focus on work instructions. Vuforia Work Instructions consists of two products, Vuforia Expert Capture and Vuforia Instruct. Both products are extremely powerful because they let anyone be able to understand exactly what to do and where to do it. And at the same time, get execution feedback from the front line to help with traceability, compliance, and continuous improvement. They're scalable, out-of-the-box solutions that provide fast time to value. They make it easy to create, edit, and publish augmented work instructions to frontline employees to improve their efficiency, safety, and agility. Let's now take a closer look at each of these work instruction offerings, and more importantly, how easily they can be used together. Vuforia Expert Capture is the fastest and easiest way to capture and share expert knowledge. It's the best choice for using digital eyewear to capture the tacit domain knowledge and expertise of your seasoned experts. Our customers are using Expert Capture to provide up-to-date information on how to successfully perform tasks when and where the workers need it most, in the real-world context of their daily work environment, using hands-free head-mounted devices, phones and tablets, and even desktop monitors. This improves first-time fix rates and customer satisfaction while ensuring safety and compliance. Using Expert Capture, creating high-value AR content has never been faster or easier. As a new addition to the Vuforia Work Instructions offerings, Vuforia Instruct is the fastest and easiest way to author CAD-based work instructions to scale engineering excellence, digitize manufacturing processes, and empower frontline workers. It's the best choice for communicating and validating the execution of instructions through AR using 3D for quality inspection use cases today and assembly and maintenance use cases later this year and next year. What we'll see in a few minutes, Vuforia Instruct enables industrial customers to leverage their 3D CAD to easily create highly visual work instructions that are clearly presented in AR to frontline workers to help them do their jobs more efficiently, accurately, and safely. It's designed specifically for OEM companies who seek a scalable, out-of-the-box solution to improve quality, machine performance, and compliance. Both Expert Capture and Instruct are built on PTC's SaaS Atlas platform, meaning they share a common set of components: the Vuforia Editor, Admin Center, Vantage App, and Insights Portal. It also means they can be used seamlessly together to present procedural guidance based on both captured knowledge and highly engineered pre-existing 3D content, allowing companies to address a wider range of enterprise use cases. Built on this common SaaS platform, Expert Capture and Instruct provide the ideal solution for organizations who want to easily capture, author, execute, and analyze the workflows and procedures that their businesses depend on. An employee on the factory floor, for example, will be able to use Expert Capture to instruct to receive work instructions, but also provide feedback on how the work is going. As noted earlier, Expert Capture and Instruct can be used individually to address a variety of use cases across the value chain, but they're even more powerful when used together. One example is assembly and inspection. Authoring and delivery of the assembly process created with Vuforia Expert Capture is important to reduce errors and accelerate time to revenue. Adding inspection instructions with Vuforia Instruct ensures that the product was put together correctly so that you deliver quality products that you can be proud of and that your customers love. Another great combination is maintenance and inspection. Augmented step-by-step instructions on how to maintain or service equipment that is out in the field or in use in your customers' environments are critical for reducing costly downtime and keeping machines running at peak efficiency. Adding inspection instructions with Vuforia Instruct ensures that the procedures were done correctly and that the equipment is restored to proper working order. Using both Expert Capture and Instruct together, I'm going to show you how to create work instructions that have a combination of captured expertise and 3D CAD models to address the assembly and inspection use case that we just talked about. Using this 3D printer as the context for our work instructions, you will see how the expert's tacit domain knowledge is captured using Vuforia Capture, how instructions are authored in the same web-based Vuforia editor, how they are seamlessly executed with Vuforia Vantage, and lastly, how all the feedback that the frontline worker generates can be analyzed in Vuforia Insights. Let's start out with the Capture app. In this video, you're seeing the subject matter expert using a head-mounted device or smart glasses to capture the assembly procedure for the 3D printer. In this case, it happens to be a HoloLens device, but the Capture app also works great with RealWear devices. You're seeing here firsthand how easy it is to record video and audio from a first-person perspective. Well, in this case, the video is muted so that you can hear me talking over it. The expert simply goes about their task as they normally would, narrating the process as they proceed and throwing in just a few voice commands to break any procedure down into meaningful bite-sized chunks. The ability to drive the Capture app really is as simple as saying a few voice commands like next step or take photo or gazing at buttons when in loud environments. The design philosophy behind the Capture app is being focused first and foremost on the task at hand, not on the technology. That way, the expert is able to break down the content into steps, take additional photos, and even add locations that can later guide the novice user to the correct place while still being focused on the work directly in front of them. The result is being able to capture the expert's invaluable tacit knowledge faster and more efficiently than any other way. Using this content then becomes the foundation of providing work instructions that will be so much easier to comprehend and execute than the paper-based world we all live in. Lastly, once the expert is completed, the procedure is saved and the Capture app simply bundles up all of the content, which can be easily imported into the Vuforia editor for further editing and enhancing. Now that you've seen how easy this is, let's take a look at some tips and tricks to really take advantage of all the capabilities the Capture app provides. The first to appear is on the HoloLens version of the Capture app. By default, the menu will smartly follow you around, so it's always easily accessible. This is especially helpful when taking advantage of the HoloLens spatial awareness capabilities and using the Capture app capability to place locations to guide the novice worker to the right workbench or toolbox or whatever it might be. But in cases where the procedure mostly takes place right in front of you, did you know that you can lock the menu so that it stays in the same place in space? Simply say, lock menu, and it will stay right there. This way, you can keep it right where you want it, at the preferred distance and location for easy access right where and when you need it. Let's now take a look at another tip and trick, but this time on the Capture app on a RealWear device. Did you know that you can use the zoom features of the RealWear device to really focus the camera in on the right place? Simply say zoom level 3 or zoom level 5 to get the right zoom level you need. Let's see if we can get this to play better. Look like this one is cooperating. We'll just keep going, but there's more. If you ever find yourself capturing a procedure where the lighting isn't the best, when it's a little too dark, you can say flashlight on to use the light on the RealWear device to brighten things up. Since that's not working, we're going to move on over to the editor. The Vuforia editor is the authoring tool and content management system for Vuforia work instructions. Meaning is the same editor used with both Expert Capture and Instruct. The entire philosophy behind the editor is to provide a simple, easy to use tool that anyone can pick up quickly, allowing the person authoring the procedure to focus on adding content, not learning another tool. What you're seeing here now is uploading the captured content we just looked at so that it can be added to an already existing procedure. You'll see in a moment when the captured content is inserted, the steps from it are automatically added to the procedure, and the photos taken during those steps are included with them. You can then edit and add any of the captured video content to any of the steps as well to ensure you're delivering the exact video needed at each step. Additionally, you can always enhance each step even further, adding text as well as additional images and videos to convey any further details. Due to the simple nature of the UI that you're seeing here and its drag and drop capabilities, this entire creation and editing process is really easy to learn. While the author continues filling out the remaining steps to complete the assembly portion of this procedure, the next thing we're going to look at are the new version and history capabilities. The Vuforia editor is always saving an immutable record of all the changes made to the procedure, allowing managers and authors to see all updates and modifications made, including who made the change, when it was made, and what the change was. You can also create a new version to mark key progress points or collaboration milestones. Overall, these capabilities support improved collaboration workflows among authors by providing transparency into all the changes made, all while ensuring work isn't lost or overwritten. We're going to leave the versions and history tab open so that you can see it update in real time as additional changes are made to this procedure. Next, let's look at some of the new Vuforia Instruct capabilities available in the editor. Note that we are still using the same procedure. So we're combining the best of Expert Capture and Instruct. The author starts by uploading the CAD model of the 3D printer. This one happens to be a step file, but Instruct supports seamless uploading of over a dozen of the most common CAD file formats. You can then drag and drop the CAD file right into the procedure. Since the assembly-related steps were just completed earlier, let's look at the 3D capabilities of Instruct to add the inspection steps to verify the printer was indeed put together correctly. Combining these two types of data, captured content and CAD models, allows us to create a procedure that will provide the clearest instructions to the frontline worker as possible. With the model now part of the procedure, you can easily manipulate it to call out locations on the model, to add what we call markers, the blue arrows that you're seeing, which identify the specific location you want to guide the user's attention to. You can see here how easy this is to do. You don't need any technical CAD or even AR skills to do this. Lastly, now that the procedure is in its final state and is ready for delivery, with a push of a button, the manager can publish out these updates and they immediately become available to everyone that you want to grant permission to consume this procedure. What you just saw was how easy it is to use the Vuforia editor to add rich content to your work instructions. Now let's take a look at a few tips and tricks on the editor. In this video, you're seeing an author stitch together multiple individual portions of that captured content. That alone is a super handy trick. But did you know you can also re-record the audio associated to any clip? Was the wrong thing said during a capture? Was a critical instruction missed? Did the fire alarm go off while it was being recorded? Don't worry, simply put the video into edit mode, click the record new audio button, and talk away to add the desired voiceover to the video. While re-recording audio is one way that you can use the editor to enhance the content of your work instructions, it's not the only way. Did you know that you can also add annotations to images? The editor provides a vast array of ways to mark up your images, to provide additional notes, callouts, and even graphics. As you're seeing here, I can choose from a set of shapes and additional symbols to help clarify what the correct way to do something is, as well as add text directly onto the image. Now they know this handy trick, gone are the days of being frustrated trying to decipher what a picture is trying to tell you. Let's now switch back to instruct specific capabilities. When we showed the CAD file being used earlier, you may have been thinking, well, I need CAD experts to do all this. The good news is that you don't need any previous CAD knowledge to use 3D and instruct. This is because the Vuforia editor is super easy to create what we call product states. You can easily pick and choose which parts are going to be present when this procedure is executed on the front line. So if your CAD models come with extra parts or assemblies, or if they come overloaded with parts to multiple configurations, it only takes a matter of seconds to create the correct product state. And of course, any product state can be reused in other procedures once created. Now, let's take a look at how procedures are consumed by the frontline workers. Vuforia Vantage is the newest app in the Vuforia family. It was developed specifically for frontline workers to access, discover, and consume work instructions created in both Expert Capture and Instruct. Access all of the procedures you've recently executed, the ones you've bookmarked as favorites, and when needed, you can browse and search the library of all the procedures that you've been granted access to. A modern design presents all the content you previously saw captured and authored, delivered right to the frontline worker, making it super clear what needs to be done on each step. What you're about to see is the true power of combining both Expert Capture and Instruct. Within the same procedure, we're now using the Vuforia camera vision technology to identify the physical product that matches the CAD file. We call this view here a live guide. The frontline worker was presented a guide view informing them which product they need to be looking for. As you see, it recognizes the object and locked onto it. Vantage now knows exactly where to guide the user for each step. Even when the object is completely out of camera view, it is still pulling you back to the exact location you need to be focusing your attention on. And of course, even steps with 3D content like this one can also include the photos and images that were taken when using the Vuforia Capture app, truly combining all of the best capabilities from Vuforia Expert Capture and Vuforia Instruct. Then, after completing each step, the frontline worker can hit the pass or fail button, depending on the results of their inspection. This feedback data is then sent back to be viewed and analyzed later, tying it directly back to the serial number instance of the product that you saw entered at the start of this session. As you can see, Vantage was designed to make it intuitive and comfortable for both new and experienced workers to use. It helps your frontline workers get started faster, consume information more effectively, and ultimately increase productivity. all while keeping a record of the work done for later traceability. It truly is game-changing for your frontline workers. Now, let's take a look at a Vantage tip and trick you may not know about. We all know situations exist where the back corner of the factory floor doesn't have a Wi-Fi signal, or you're out in the field and you can't get a connection. Nothing to worry about. You can use Vantage offline. You simply download any procedure directly onto your device. Just do this ahead of time when you do have a connection, then take your phone or tablet anywhere. When connected again, you'll even get messages in the app when it detects that a newer version of the procedure is available. Lastly, let's move on to the final component of Vuforia Work Instructions, Vuforia Insights. Insights is where all of that tracked session data from Vuforia Vantage is saved so that admins and managers can later review and analyze all of the work being done at your company. It provides full traceability for all of your work instructions. You now have the ability to see who is executing procedures, when they did so, how long it takes, as well as a record back to every serial number instance that the procedure was executed against. It even includes per step details, such as if they marked a step pass or fail, or even if they skipped a step. At any point, you can easily search and export any of the results that you can then use to share or import into a third-party system. Before we wrap up, let's take a look at one more tip and trick, sticking with Vuforia Insights. We'll start by narrowing our list of results down to just those for the 3D printer assembly and inspection procedure. Did you know that you can now filter the results down based on additional criteria? Simply click the filter button in the upper right corner to open up the different filtering options. You can now set a desired date range, as well as the desired procedure status, such as just the entries that had any failures. This narrowed down list can then be exported as well, resulting in a report of just the specific sessions that you were looking for. So now that you've seen firsthand the amazing features of Vuforia Expert Capture and Vuforia Instruct, as well as some tips and tricks that really take your work instructions to the next level, let's look back to where we started. And importantly, let's remember that what we just saw was how augmented reality can be used to address the problems that we talked about earlier. With Expert Capture and Instruct, you now know how simple it is to turn your paper-based work instructions into AR work instructions. And by doing so, you'll get new and novice employees up and running quicker than ever before. You reduce wasted time and materials, resulting in lower costs and higher quality products. You'll eliminate safety concerns and improve employee satisfaction. And most importantly, you're going to be producing products that you and your customers are proud of, all leading to increased revenue. So I want to thank everyone for your time today. It's been a pleasure sharing all of the great things about Vuforia Work Instructions with you. Now we're going to open it up for questions from the audience and do a little Q&A. So please enter your questions in the Q&A portion in the upper right, and my colleague Cindy will be reading the best ones and asking them to me so that we can cover some of the questions that you may have. Cindy, do we have any that have already come in?
We actually do. Thank you very much, Ryan. And the first one is, which devices are supported with Vuforia Work Instructions offering?
Good question. So it varies a little bit on the app and where in the process of both capturing and playing back the procedures. So let's start on the Capture app side. So on the Capture app, remember, this is the head-mounted device. You put the smart glasses on the expert, and you go out and tell them, just do your job as you normally would, with adding in some of those voice commands. So we support the RealWear HMT devices, as well as the HoloLens 1 and 2 on the Capture app, because it's super important that they're hands-free to be able to do their job as it's being captured. On the playback side, the benefit here, which Mike talked about earlier in one of the keynotes, is that we're device agnostic. So we take the content, or Vuforia Instruct and Vuforia Expert Capture takes the content that you put into your procedures, and we spit out multiple different ways to consume it. So on the iOS and Android side, we support phones and tablets on those OSs. And then we also create a version, specifically designed for smart glasses as well. So you can also then consume the procedure on a RealWear device or a HoloLens 1 or a HoloLens 2 and be hands-free doing the job or doing the training as well. But we also create a desktop browser version so that if you have a machine already mounted or a monitor already mounted on your workstation, you can use it there. And then last, we create a Word doc as well, so that if you need a record of it for audit purposes, all of that gets created when you saw that publish happen, from Vuforia Editor. So at any time any procedure is published, we create all of those versions for you, and they're each designed, specifically for that device type in mind to provide the best experience to the user. Great question.
Thanks, Ryan. The next question is, I see that inspection use cases work great for procedures with instruct-based content. How about other use cases like assembly or service? Will those be supported with 3D CAD-based instructions as well?
Yeah, very, very intuitive question. So what you saw was with Instruct and using the camera vision technology to lock onto the physical object, we're using our model-based tracking or our recognition capabilities to identify that physical product, out on the factory floor or wherever it might be. And so initially that the procedure, the requirements is that product maintains the same state from the start to the finish of that procedure. And then if there's other things that happen during that procedure, such as, arms moving or parts being added or removed, it would just require a different procedure. What we're moving towards here at the end of this year and early next year with Instruct is supporting those other use cases like assembly and service. So those are coming very soon, where we will automatically be able to detect, changes in state and provide the right guidance, using AR to show things moving or pieces being added, or even just guiding to the right place, all while keeping that model-based tracking technology working from start to finish.
Thanks, Ryan. The next question that came in is, do I need a ThingWorx server or Experience server for publishing Expert Capture AR instructions?
Good question. So the answer on this one is that it's going back to what we talked about a little bit in the middle of this presentation, that both Expert Capture and Instruct are built off of our Atlas SaaS platform. So that means they're both SaaS products, updated, every 28 days by our development team to push out the latest and greatest updates to you, so that you don't have to manage them and take care of all of that on an on-prem system or server that you have to maintain and keep updated. So being, a SaaS product, it allows us to push those things out. And then that way you don't have to worry about installing, any servers on your own. We take care of all of that for you. You just simply have to download like the Capture app or the Vantage app, from the app stores to be able to do the capturing or consuming of the procedures.
Thanks, Ryan. I almost called you Brian. You're not Brian. Some of what we see in Instruct looks like Vuforia Studio. When would I use Instruct and when would I use Studio?
Good question. All right. So Instruct and Expert Capture, the philosophy behind these products is a much more solution-focused approach, meaning for you a simple, scalable solution to allow you to create work instructions easily and actually be focused on the content that you're adding to the work instructions. And we're continually adding, on this 28-day release cycle that I mentioned, additional capabilities to really make that easy for you. On the Studio side, it's more of a platform play. So on that initial slide with the different PTC products, it was a little bit to the right, which tends itself to be more of a platform where you can create any type of AR experience for any type of use case that you may want to create, such as product visualization or marketing type apps. Where on the Instruct side, well, we can use CAD files in both Instruct and Studio. On the Instruct side, it's completely focused, tailored to work instructions, and all about just allowing authors, subject matter experts who know how to author or execute a procedure to be able to create it themselves really quickly and easily without having to know, more specifics or have skills, around CAD or AR. The benefit on the studio side is that it is more platformy in that you can create whatever you want. So if you do have those skills, you can create, use cases that whatever you can dream of, you can create there. So it really just depends what you're looking for. The good news is they're both using all of the same underlying Vuforia technology of model-based tracking and all the capabilities that come there. So you're guaranteed a really good, solid result of the AR that gets produced in either one of those two products.